You are the solution to your future. Tony Robbins, he talks about the work that it takes from going from level to level. So it forced me to grow in ways that I didn't even realize that I needed. And it required me to develop new skills, build the relationships, and most importantly, today we are going to talk about continue down this line of like what it takes to create the mindset required to achieve the lives that we say that we desire. Right. So we're gonna take a ride today and talk about it from a slightly it's gonna be a slight twist to this message today, right? And this mindset of abundance and breaking through. And I'm gonna give you 5 limiting beliefs that could be stopping you, have stopped me from achieving that next big breakthrough. All right. And so the session is all about understanding some of the mental barriers that we face and learn how we can overcome them and reach our fullest potential. All right. So let me ask you something. Imagine waking up every morning just filled with a sense of unlimited possibility, right? Like legit feeling empowered, confident, and unstoppable in the pursuit of your dreams. That would feel incredible, right? It would be exhilarating, right? That's what a mindset of abundance can do for you. Now, not saying that it's going to be easy, not saying that every day is going to be candy and roses, but you wake up filled with a sense of possibility, right? I said it's not just having more, but it's about being more, feeling more, doing more with the time that we have. And we often hear about and we've talked about the power of positive thinking, right? And setting goals. But there's an even deeper level, right? Something even deeper that we have to address, right? And that goes back to the beliefs that hold us back. So today we're going to learn how to cultivate that abundant mindset and shatter those limiting beliefs that are keeping us from reaching the highest potential, right? And we all have aspirations, right? Things that we want to achieve, but sometimes it feels like there's something just in the way from that next level, right? An invisible barrier that we just can't really break through. That's what we're going to talk about. All right. We're going to explore how to shift. There's levels to this, right? And we've talked about it, and I'll reference Tony Robbins. He talks about the the work that it takes from going from level to level, right? And being good, you're here, right? And you get good results, right? And the next level is very good. But to get to very good, it's a large leap. From very good, you go to exceptional, and that distance shrinks a little bit, but there's still a lot of work within that, right? So each level, there's a gap that we have to break through, right? So we have to at each level, there are more things that we have to overcome. At each level of growth, at each new experience, there's going to be something more that we have to figure out to go to the next level. Some of those things, self-doubt, right? And that self-doubt shows up in different ways at each level. How to embrace a new way of thinking that opens up those new possibilities. Just think about it for a second, right? Think about the time where you truly felt unstoppable. And I've asked you this question before, I believe, right? But maybe it was a moment when everything just was just clicking on all cylinders, right? You knew you could achieve anything that you set your mind to. What if we created our minds and our bodies to feel that way every day? So get comfortable. We'll see how much we get through, because I do have a lot this morning. So we'll see how much we get through. We might have to break this up into a couple sessions. So let's get to it. I want to break down the concept of quantum leaps. Quantum leaps, right? And I want us to understand this concept, and this will set the foundation for where we go, right? So quantum leaps are major transformative changes that go beyond incremental progress. Okay. They're not small, gradual improvements, but they're about making bold, significant shifts that dramatically change the course of our lives. Now, I don't want us to misinterpret something here, right? It's not changing the concept of 1% per day, but it's shifting the thought process and the actions that we have to take. Right. So think about massive action, massive developmental strides that children make. And we've all made quantum leaps in our lives. We don't think about them this way, but we've all made quantum leaps in our lives. So think about the developmental strides that children make before they before the age of 5, right? Children come into this world, they can't walk, they can't talk, they can't feed themselves. But by the age of 3, they've mastered talking, they've mastered moving around the world, right? They've mastered feeding themselves. These individually are quantum leaps. They called for massive shifts in the way that you operated. They couldn't. A baby can't crawl fast enough to walk, right? You have to completely change the paradigm to be able to stand up, gain balance, and take steps. They didn't do it through careful planning and cautious steps, but they did it through the willingness to try, fail, try, fail, try, fail, try, fail. They fall down, they get back up. They fall down, they get back up. They fall down, they get back up. And they keep going until they succeed. This is the essence of a quantum leap, right? When we talk about leaps in our own lives, we're talking about those big audacious moves that take us from where we are to where we truly desire to be. And it's about setting goals that scare us. Setting goals that scare us a lot. And that's what pushes us outside of our comfort zone to then figure out how to achieve them, right? S- Setting goals that are small, right? We're talking about the large goal here. Setting goals that are small, that only require small progress, that's comfortable. It's safe and it's limiting. It keeps us in a cycle of small. because our focus is on small, right? Quantum leaps, they require us to think bigger, to dream bigger, and to act bigger, seeing ourselves there, right? Imagine if you imagine if you approached your goals with the same fearlessness and determination as a child when they're learning to walk. No fear of failure, just a relentless drive to keep going until you get there. That's the mindset we have to cultivate to make quantum leaps in our life, to take that next step that we know is going to change our world. But we also feel what we've labeled as fear. So one key aspect of making quantum leaps is embracing the idea that you don't need to have everything figured out before you start. We like to plan everything. I'm talking to me too, right? Just like a child doesn't have to have a detailed plan to learn to walk, you don't have to have all of the answers before you make a big move. It's about taking the first step, trusting the process, being willing to adapt and learn along the way, right? Like I said, in my personal and professional life, or even in yours, right? Think about a goal that has been sitting on you that feels out of reach, right? Just think about it. And instead of focusing on having everything figured out in the small pieces, what if you aim to take the leap, to take the action that's required, not just planning through it? What if you aimed at that quantum leap? What if you set goals so big that it forced you to rethink your entire approach? Quantum leaps, they're not just about achieving more, right? They're about transforming who we are in the process. Like I said, as we go to these different levels, we have to change our whole realm of thinking. And the only way we're going to move into that next level is to make a quantum leap. And when we aim for these big, audacious goals, we'll push ourselves to grow in ways that we never thought possible. We'll become more resilient, more creative, more confident. The confidence doesn't come through the plans. The confidence comes through the actions that we then learn from to then be able to take another step. So as we move forward in the session, I want us to keep this concept of quantum leaps in our mind. And remember, it's today we're not talking about small, safe steps. It's bold, transformative moves that propel us forward to our dreams. And we're gonna talk about how to identify these limiting beliefs that hold us back and get some strategies to overcome them so we can make those quantum leaps and create the life that we say that we desire. All right. So to make a quantum leap, you need audacious goals. These goals should be bold, seemingly unrealistic, and they should force us out of our current mode of operation. So, personal experience. 2013, I was just getting through. It was a difficult period in my life, right? I had recently gone through a tough divorce, and I was working to rebuild myself. I had moved back to this side of the state, lost my job with the bank. I was bouncing around doing just some independent contractor work, just trying to figure things out and make money just to live. And my confidence was broken, if I'm honest. It was broken, not just shaken, but broken. And I felt like I was stuck. And ultimately just going through the motions, just day to day to day, because I didn't know where to turn, right? And I didn't have a full direction. I knew in my gut what I wanted to do with my life, but going through this period completely, it it, it broke me in a lot of ways. So I ended up getting this job, right? I was applying for jobs because I was tired of doing the business to business thing. And so I applied for this contractor position at DTE, right? And I got the job. And as I was going through the interview process, I was really doing a lot of reflection on where I wanted to go from this moment. This was an opportunity for me to restart. And I realized that I needed to set a goal that actually drove me. Because I would, as I got this job, the first year, all I did was read. I just read books. I wouldn't leave my desk. I would eat my lunch at my desk. My breaks I take at my desk. And I just read and read and read and read to help to shift me internally and to help me to just figure out where I was, to find the tools to rebuild myself. And I realized that I needed to set goals that were so big and so audacious that it would force me to completely rethink my approach to life. And at that moment, I decided that I wanted to be a business owner. I had done some independent contractor work. I had worked for multiple people and I had seen some things, but at this moment, I realized I want to own a business. And I reflected on the experiences that I've had working in corporate America, working in financials, working in customer service. And as I was going through this experience with DTE, I was like, I want to own my own, right? I had no real business experience. I had no financial backing. Like I said, my self esteem was shot at the time. I didn't know. What I knew was that if I wanted to make real transformative change in my life, I needed to go for something that scared me. I needed to set a goal that would push me way beyond my limits. And so I started researching what it took. And I learned that I really needed to develop my leadership skills. I had some little leadership things here or there scattered through in high school. I did some things, but I really didn't know how to lead people. And so I had a conversation with my manager at the time, and I said, "Hey," and I was still in training at this time. And I said, "Hey," his name was Dewan. I said, "Hey, Dewan, my goal is to be a leader in this organization. What do I need to do to achieve that?" And he said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes. My goal is to be a leader in this organization." said, "Well, I'll watch you and I'll come back to you, but I want to see how you work." All right. So I got to work. I took on every project. I took on every new challenge that came, challenging customers. I took on. I was answering the questions in the training in the training class. I was the first person to show up and I was the last person to leave because I knew like leadership skills I didn't have. So the only thing that I could do was be the best in the training class. And if I was the best in the training class, then I'd stand out and then I'd be able to get put in different positions to be in front of people. And when people had questions, because I studied the material so much and I challenged myself to take the most difficult customers, when people had questions, I'd be the first to help them. And this continued. And now people started to see me as a leader. And I wouldn't have to say, "Hey, I can help you." They would then start coming to me and asking me for help. And that spread to not just my training class coming to me and asking for me to help, but then when we got on the floor, it led to other people gravitating to me because I was the person that people said, "He knows this stuff." Even when I felt unsure and scared, I knew that I had to just keep figuring it out. I'd work all the overtime so I could get the extra experience. I'd work 14, 15, 16-hour days during storms so that I could get the experience in difficult, challenging situations to figure out all of the different scenarios that could potentially come about and then figure out how to find the answers to those difficult questions because I wouldn't have them all the time, but I knew where to go and who to go to. So in that process, I also was able to build relationships, a knowledge base to pull from. Now I don't have to have all the answers, but I know where to go to get the answers. And now I can present myself as a true leader in the organization because I have the knowledge, the relationships, and the resources to find the information that I need to continue to take steps. So it forced me to grow in ways that I didn't even realize that I needed. And it required me to develop new skills, build the relationships, and most importantly, start to believe in me again. Every step of the way, I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone. And it was in those uncomfortable moments that I experienced the most growth, right? There were times that I felt like giving up, absolutely, right? Obstacles, they seemed unsurmountable, but what happened is I continued to remind myself why I set the goals in the first place. I had that motivation to go, right? I wanted a life that was not just about survival, but about thriving. And I wanted to put myself, I wanted to prove to myself that I could achieve something that at that moment seemed insurmountable despite the setbacks that I faced. And what ultimately happened is just during that period, 6 month period of time, I went from an individual contributor to a team lead to a manager in a 6 month period of time, new to the business. Right. Things started to come together and I put myself in a position to be a leader in the organization. Things started to take shape and I started to see, this makes sense now. These are things that I need to store if I'm going to run a business, if I'm going to be a leader in the community, if I'm going to be anything that I started to now think bigger about. These are pieces that I can now hold on to and really start to use in different ways. But it all started with me having an audacious goal that seemed unsurmountable. And it taught me the power of setting those audacious goals. It showed me that when you aim high, we force ourselves to become more resourceful, more resilient, more creative. It's not just about having all the answers at the beginning, it's about taking the steps, trusting that you can figure it out along the way. Taking the steps is the quantum leap. So I challenge you to think about your own goals, right? What's something that feels out of reach? Something that scares you a lot. That's the kind of goals that we need to set if we want to make this quantum leap into that next level. So now that we understand the concept of quantum leaps and the importance of setting audacious goals, I want to dive into some specifics of goal setting for making this type of change, right? The stretch goals, they have to stretch you. The goals need to be a serious stretch, right? Like I said, they should scare you and seem almost unattainable. This level of ambition, what it does is it forces you to think differently and it pushes you beyond that box, that comfort zone that we've created for ourselves. Think about it. If your goal is something that you know you can achieve easily, how are you going to grow? How is that goal going to push you to grow? It's the big, bold goals that challenge us to develop new skills, to adopt a new mindset, to be creative enough to think about new ideas. And it starts to open up that reticular activation system to be aware of new things that we need to learn, right? And then to take the actions that we wouldn't normally take. His stretch goals, they act as a catalyst for that significant personal and professional growth, right? If your goal is to get a small promotion at work, that might not be a stretch goal for you because that's something that you can do easily. But if you aim to become a leader in your field, to create a groundbreaking project or to start your own business, right? These types of goals require a completely different level of effort and innovation. They push you to step into a new version of yourself. They make you think differently. Next, it's critical that your goals are meaningful personally, right? What is your why, your purpose, your mission, your cause? You have to have a strong meaning. It has to mean something to you personally because things will get difficult, things will be challenging. So when setbacks occur, your passion, your commitment is what's going to sustain you through the challenges. Not just about having a goal, but having a love story with that goal. Having a love story with that goal. When you deeply care about what you're aiming for, it becomes more than just a task or a milestone. It becomes a part of who you are. The emotional connection to the goal is what will keep you going when the going gets tough, when things get difficult, when the rubber really has to meet the road to take that next step. The meaning that you create is what's going to keep you going. It's what will make you resilient in the face of adversity. So as you're creating this goal, you have to create a meaning, a why around that goal that truly means something to you, that you're truly passionate about. What gets you excited to jump out of the bed in the morning? Your goals should align with these passions. When your heart isn't in it, the journey will not be fulfilling. Your heart has to be in it. And if your heart's in it, it'll become more fulfilling and the obstacles will be manageable. They'll be challenging, but they'll be manageable. And you'll start to see them as opportunities to continue to grow. So, how do we cultivate this love story? How do we cultivate this love story? Starts with a clear, detailed why. Why are you doing this? Why does this matter to you? How will achieving it impact your life and the life of others? And this is where, bringing all of our other pieces back together, visualizing the outcome and feel the emotions associated with the success. That's how detailed your why has to be. You don't have to write a long book about it, but it has to be very clear. And you have to be able to feel the emotions associated with achieving it. We've talked about this, right? And let the vision of those feelings and the feeling of those feelings drive your actions. You can feel the excitement of the achievement today, and that will drive you. But you won't be able to feel that if you're not very, very clear about why you're doing this. And then writing those goals down in places that you see them all the time, brainwashing yourself with those goals. The visualization, the seeing it everywhere makes it present, continuing to make that reticular activation system aware of this is where I'm going and this is what I feel like I am. So now I need all of the resources for those things to come into play. Right. You can also do things like vision boards or mind maps that illustrate the dreams and aspirations so that you can see them in another way. You can feel them in another way. But you want to surround yourself with all of the reminders of why you're pursuing this path. You got to brainwash yourself into believing that it's real, that it's happening now. Right. So the action steps: setting your stretch goal, right? Aligning with your passion, visualizing the success, and then staying connected to it and revisiting that why. So we've covered the importance of setting stretch goals, aligning them with your passions, right? And now let's talk about some strategies that will keep you that'll help achieving these quantum leaps, right? And these strategies, they'll enable you to overcome obstacles and start to potentially manage your self doubt a little bit differently so that you can actually focus on your success. The first thing is selective persistence. Smarter, not harder. Selective persistence is about differentiating between smart persistence and frugal effort. It's critical to understand this this concept sometimes, right? Success isn't about trying harder, it's about trying differently. Imagine trying to push through a locked door. You keep banging on it, banging on it, banging on it, banging on it with all your strength, but it won't open. Instead, look for another way, right? Maybe there's a key, a window, or even a different door. This designer from Nike, he calls it the third door. You got the front door, you got the back door, and then you got a third door. Sometimes you got to find the third door. So thinking differently, right? And the same principle applies with our goals. Sometimes we get so fixated on one approach that we fail to see other possibilities. So when we encounter a roadblock, right? Take a step back and reassess. Okay, this roadblock is here. I've attempted it multiple times, same outcome. How can I do this differently? Is there a smarter way to achieve the goal? Are there other resources and strategies that I haven't considered? Being flexible, being a little bit more aware allows your reticular activation system to really work. Asking yourself these questions allows your awareness to open up. Now you can see and identify new approaches that can make all the difference. The next one is managing your self-doubt, right? Self-doubt, it's a common barrier that holds us all back, right? And at each level that you go, it's going to show itself in a different way. So it's important to recognize that self-doubt is habitual. I posted this last night on Instagram. Self-doubt is not, I'm gonna pull this up so I can read it to you specifically. Is this helped me kind of think about things just a little differently. Your doubts aren't a product of accurate thinking, but habitual thinking. Your doubts aren't a product of accurate thinking, but habitual thinking. You've created the habit of doubting yourself. You've created the habit of feeling like you can't. You've created the habit of feeling like you're not good enough. You're not worthy. You've created that habit. It's not accurate, but it's a habit that you've created. So instead of believing those doubts, let's challenge the doubts. Let's choose actions even when they're uncertain. There's uncertainty surrounding those actions. Let's take them. Think of self-doubt as an old, worn-out mixtape. And you're allowing it with all the scratches on the CD to just continue to replay in your mind. Tells you that you're not good enough, that you're gonna fail, you're not ready, you're not prepared, you haven't done enough research. Remember, this tape is not the truth. It's just a habit. Whenever you catch yourself doubting your abilities, pause and question the thoughts. Pause and question the thoughts. Taking a tip from Byron Katie, when you have the thought, write it down. What it does is it allows you to pause your thoughts in the moment. Write it down, get it outside of you, write it down. So now you can pause and think about that moment and you can journal through it and ask yourself the 4 questions that we talked about previously. Is this true? Do we know certainly that it's true? Right? What evidence do we have to support it? More often than not, you'll find that those doubts are unfounded. So by challenging the doubts, you can break free from the grip that they have on us and the grip that they have that keep us from moving toward the goals. Next is our memories, right? Our memories play a significant role in shaping our beliefs, right? And our attitudes. So managing your memory is about focusing on the positive memories. Tony Robbins calls it stacking the good. And you have a choice to stack the bad or you can stack the good. So let's choose to stack the positive memories and achievements. And if we reframe our past experiences to highlight the learning opportunities, we can then move those into the positive stack. It highlights the success rather than the failures, highlights the learning and the growth and not the failures, right? It's easy to dwell on our mistakes. It's the easy thing to do because our minds and our bodies are meant for survival, right? You can't do that. But consistently replaying the negative memories only reinforces self-doubt and fear, perpetuates that habit. Instead, make a conscious effort to recall your achievements. Reflect on the times where you overcame challenges, you succeeded against all odds, and you accomplished something that was so significant that it changed the way you thought. Like I said, by focusing on the positive experiences, focusing on the lessons learned and the growth from the experiences, you can build a strong foundation of self belief and confidence that you can learn through anything. Use the memories to fuel and propel you. So, whenever you face a new challenge, you can remind yourself, I can do hard things. I can succeed in difficult moments. I can be creative in a space that seems confined. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering. So be flexible, challenge your doubts, recall, stack your successes, stack your wins. So as we aim for those big transformative changes, it's important for us to understand that, and I say this all the time, the journey won't always be smooth and easy. Me talking about it can sound like that, but it's not always going to be smooth and easy. And there's 2 significant challenges that often stand in our way. Resistance to change is number 1, and navigating the messy middle is number two. It it's human nature to avoid risk and focus on the potential losses, right? This resistance can be a major barrier to making these quantum leaps because the way our minds and our bodies are naturally designed. They're designed to protect us. When we talk about that, protection can hinder us as well if we allow it. It'll keep us from taking risk. So when we consider a major change, right, our brains immediately are looking for danger. Start thinking about all the things that could go wrong and how we might potentially fail, right? Self preservation, that instinct is strong, but like I said, it can hold us back. So in those moments, you got to think about the last time you considered making a big change in your life. And then what were the thoughts that came to mind, right? You had fear and you had doubt the last time. What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? Or what if I regret this decision? Right? Focusing on the potential losses is natural, but it's important to recognize them for what they are. It's just a defense mechanism. You don't have to run from them. You don't have to be afraid of them. Just it is what it is. It's my body trying to protect me. My mind's way of showing love is to have this defense mechanism. Beautiful. I appreciate you, but I'm not in danger. I'm not in danger. It's key to acknowledge these fears without letting them control us. And we get to control the labels that we place on those feelings that come up. Right? So, effective strategy, what I just did, reframe the way we think about the risk. Instead of focusing solely on what we might lose, consider what we might gain. What are the potential rewards? What might this change improve in our lives? By shifting the focus to a positive outcome, we can reduce the resistance and move forward with a bit more confidence. That second major challenge in pursuing these quantum leaps is navigating the messy middle. This is the phase where we talked about the waves of change, right? And this is when you get into the valley of despair. All of the unknown unknowns just start smacking. This is the phase things get tough. The initial excitement is worn off, and we're faced with the hard work, the obstacles, and the work that we didn't know that we needed to do, and the obstacles that we had no idea about. All of the things that come with major change, right? The messy middle is it's a necessary passage if we desire to achieve greatness. Most people, they get to the messy middle and they stop and go back to the beginning and try something different. It's hard, so it wasn't meant for me. If it's for me, it's going to be easy. If it's for me, it's for me, and I'm going to be able to just breeze through it. Nah, that's not the truth. If it's for you, you're going to have to learn lessons and have experiences that are going to teach you how to manage that thing and actually be able to attain that thing and to hold it over the long term. Think about renovating a house. At the beginning, you're super excited. You got the new design, right? The potential for this big, beautiful house. Once the demolition starts, it's a mess. Dust everywhere, walls torn down, it's hard to see how it all come together. You find asbestos, you got to get removed. You find the foundation isn't as solid as you thought. You find beams that are have termite damage, things that you didn't know before you started demolition. And it's messy. You got to figure this out. You got to figure out how you're going to pay for this, how you're going to pay for that, who you're going to call to maybe give you a discount if they do multiple things so that you can stay within your budget. In the same way we're working toward quantum leaps, there are moments of chaos, there's moments of doubt. And it's easy to get discouraged and give up. But it's critical to remember that this is just a phase. It's just a phase. We're in this period of time because there's more that we need to learn to be the person that can handle this new building, that truly understands all of the intricate pieces of this new building that's going to hold so much greatness. This isn't the end of the journey. It's really just the beginning of the beginning. And this is where preparation and mindset is vital. And that why, that meaning, that love story that we've created around this mission that we're on. You have to understand and accept that the messy middle is just part of the process. And we have the ability to learn the lessons required to get through it. And we're going to, because our story is so great. So you got to prepare yourself mentally for the challenge and remind yourself that the discomfort is only temporary. It's a passage we must go through to get to the next phase. We got to embrace the messy middle. We got to reframe the risk, prepare our minds for challenges that will come that we don't know about, celebrate the small wins to continue building that excitement and that resilience, that progress, celebrate the lessons that we learn, and then seek support. Don't hesitate to reach out, to talk to a friend, to talk to a mentor or a coach that can provide you valuable insight and encourage you through those difficult moments. Might be able to provide you different resources that you may not have thought about. I'm going to breeze through this next part. We so I don't keep you guys here all morning. So look, just we're going to give some advice on getting through and maintaining the energy and cultivating an optimistic mindset, right? There are two factors: maintaining high energy and having an optimistic mindset are two factors in achieving success, in making these quantum leaps, right? Energy levels. Maintaining high energy is critical for success. The high energy level correlates with a higher achievement and resilience, right? You think about the most successful people you know. They usually have energy, right? Always ready to take on the next challenge. But it also it creates the physiological change, right? Having the energy in your mind, creating the energy in the mind gives your body the energy to go. So you have to create the physiological change within your body to create the energy to move forward. And the energy that you create internally comes out. And in that coming out, you're also then more creative. You're able to see more opportunities, right? The reticular activation system can really focus on the opportunities and the energy that is being given. It helps to propel you moving forward, right? So ways to keep high energy levels, prioritize your physical health, right? Regular exercise, balanced diet, sufficient sleep, foundations for high energy, right? Also, I'll add meditation into this too, because you can control this, which controls everything else. You can create the energy here that'll continue to push you forward. Staying hydrated and managing stress through meditation, relaxation, being in the moment, right? In those difficult times, taking deep breaths, moving yourself out of fight or flight and putting you back into an active parasympathetic nervous system state, more relaxed state, right? Complacency is the enemy of growth. Complacency is the enemy of growth, right? Continuously seeking new challenges and avoiding settling into a comfort zone, right? When we get too comfortable, we stop growing and we miss out on opportunities for those quantum leaps. We got to be open to continue to push forward if we desire to achieve whatever our definition of greatness is, whatever our definition of success is, whatever our definition of ex, uh, uh, excellence is. And then we have to embrace childlike curiosity, having a naive ambition and willingness to fail. Being excited about failing. Who says that? You got to be excited about failing. A childlike approach to this, it fosters that innovation and persistence, right? Kids, they learn and grow rapidly because they aren't afraid to try. They aren't afraid to fail. They aren't afraid to get back up and try again. Adopting this mindset can lead to crazy breakthroughs in our personal and professional lives. But we have to stay curious. We have to stay curious. We have to seek failure. Seek failure. That's where we're going to learn. And in seeking failure, you're going to experiment. You're going to try new approaches, new ideas, new ways to see things, all of which probably seem unconventional. Now, I talked about optimism, right? Reducing negative thinking is more impactful than increasing positive thinking. Focus on cutting out the negative thoughts to create a cleaner, more efficient mental state, right? We've talked about this. We've talked about this, right? It's not about the power of positive thinking, but negative thinking is more powerful than positive thinking. So if we stop the negative in really speaking, because the thoughts we have most times we speak, I can't, I'm not, this isn't going to work. If we stop speaking negative, we increase the likelihood of that whatever that thing happening is about 40 to 70%. Just by stopping the negative speaking. Just cut it off. As you're working through it, when you say something negative, immediately replace it with something positive. Change the second thought to ultimately remove the first thought. So now we're decreasing the negative words spoken, then that will ultimately lead to decreasing the negative thoughts that we have about the experience that we're going. Other strategies on doing this is practicing gratitude, right? We talk all the time about the gratitude journals, right? Like I said, challenging those negative thoughts, surrounding yourself with positive energy and positive people, right? Hold on one second, everybody. Surrounding yourself with positive people, right? Studies show that optimism, optimists tend to live a longer, healthier life. Cultivating an optimistic outlook can significantly enhance your quality of life. When you focus on the positives and maintain an optimistic mindset, your body responds with better health, greater resilience to stress. You're changing the chemicals that are being released in the body, and you're not exposing your body to long-term stress. Changes your whole chemical makeup. So let's address these 5 limiting beliefs that often block our breakthrough and how we can overcome them. Number 1, fear, failure, and self-doubt. Right? The belief is mistakes are detrimental and self-doubt prevents the progress. Right? How to overcome this: embrace the mistakes as learning opportunities and challenge those doubts. Remember that everybody experiences failure along the path to success. Number 2 is comfort in the status quo. Small gains are it. It's not it. Significant change is uncomfortable. It is. But we got to push beyond the comfort zone. Set the ambitious goals, the audacious goals that inspire us and challenge us. Risk aversion is number 3. Potential losses and dangers outweigh the benefits of change. To overcome this, we have to focus on the potential gains and reframe the risk as an opportunity for growth and learning. Number 4, focusing on how instead of why. Right? Not knowing the steps to achieve a goal limits the progress. That's the belief. The reality is focusing on the desired outcome and purpose, the how will become clearer. We focus on why. We focus on the desired outcome and the purpose, the how will reveal itself. As you move forward with a strong sense of why you're doing what you're doing. And then number 5, negative thinking and habitual worry. Engaging with the negative patterns diminishes optimism, right? Practice mindfulness and gratitude to reduce the negative thoughts. Replace the habitual pattern that we've created of worry and doubt with positive, proactive thinking. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I want to emphasize that cultivating a mindset of abundance and breaking through the limiting beliefs is all about understanding and overcoming the mental barriers that we face. It's overcoming the mental barriers that we've built up over time. Remember, you are the most powerful person in your life. You have an incredible capacity for change. You are the solution to your future, not anything or anyone else. You are the solution to your future. That's my statement, good people. I appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me. Floor is open. Thoughts, feedback, questions. I'm all ears.
What up, though?
What's the deal, Joy?
Slow motion. Each week you be in my mind. So by me working at home and with the recent changes and everything, I don't take time off. Not unless it's for a doctor's appointment, small things. So my supervisor's like, hey, you got a lot of PTO, right? I was like, I do. I don't look at it. And so what I was trying to do, I was trying to hold it for so I could have 2 weeks off. But then I realized it's about to be the end and I probably won't get a full 2 weeks off. So I was like, let me just pick a date. And I chose this week.
Yeah.
And my goal for this week was decluttering. I started redoing my trading plan again. And that's basically my decluttering before I put everything, I just got a rough draft before I finished, the final draft is the declutter. So then that way I can get this settled. And my whole plan for this trading plan is to focus one fib at a time. I was so focused at the beginning of getting that perfect entry. Okay, I got the perfect entry. How do I get out? How do I get out? And that's why I'm finding myself in not finding a way to get out because, I see more potential. I see more potential and move the TP and forget to move the stop loss up. And not putting it all together. Like it's a good idea and everything, but I still, it's like, dang, I'm missing it because, just having trouble moving that stop, finding the right time to move that stop loss so I won't, miss my opportunities. And I was so worried that I'll miss that move while I'm working because it's just clear science for me in my time frame. Everything that I want to do happens after it happens after the fact. And I was like, how can I track this? How can I track the market for myself? And which is focusing one fib at a time and not worrying about the rest.
I love it. Continue to be creative and ask yourself, how can I see this differently?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And what I did previously, I spent from Thursday to yesterday with different group of peoples that I haven't hung before. And let me tell you. And just one or two drinks, not like, hey babe, come pick me up, I can't drive. Fun. But, still left my window open last night. No drinks, no nothing. I was just tired. I haven't did this in a long time. I've been trapped in the house, just focusing on trading. I just realized it's just been me and this computer, just me and these screens. And I said, Joy, you got to get out. You got to do something. This is not, people not used to me just being home. And I was like, come on out. And I literally from Thursday to yesterday, I did painting with a twist. Oh, that was so fun. Met a wonderful group of people. young lady who had just found her father's side of the family. And it was we all had a ball. We didn't even know these people, had a ball. Saturday, I went to a concert. I hate concerts.
Uh-oh.
But SOS band was jamming. Oh my God, I had a time. It was nice. And then it was it was a friend, she graduated with her BSN. And I just had a nice time this weekend. And
That's
now
awesome.
since I got that out my way, I can focus on my whole thing was have fun, declutter, get back to work.
Yeah.
So that's what I got planned for my vacation. And I can't wait.
That's awesome. Kudos to you, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Continue to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations so that you continue to learn and grow. It's awesome, Joy. I can't say that enough. It's beautiful. Kudos to you, man. I appreciate you. I always say I appreciate your transparency as you're going through this journey. It's beautiful to watch and witness. So thank you.
I can't wait to take this moment and say, I did it, Brian. I did it.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Anybody else thoughts, feedback, questions?
Morning, everybody. Morning, Ryan.
Good
I
morning,
think it's
Donette.
very important that you really revisit your why. So for me, having a strong why and revisiting that why was so key for me because I was able to this weekend for the first time in a long time mark up all 28 pairs. And I pushed myself because over the weekend I was really focusing on, what I wanted to accomplish, putting up those visuals. I posted in the community that I had gotten these balloons blown up with, 1K, 20K, and just putting those
Mm,
things out
that's beautiful.
in the forefront. I have it in my car. I was like, this is going to get done, and just pushing yourself more to really see those goals come to manifestation. I was on my Woman and Wealth chat over the weekend, and one of the things she mentioned is that money has a scent and you should smell your money.
Mm,
And, bring that energy into it. So I was like, you know
yeah.
what? But it does have a smell if you really smell it, though.
Oh yeah. It definitely does. Definitely
So
does.
it just does something to you on the inside. So, and, that's just growth and just extending how you really want to push yourself out there. The journey, like you said, it doesn't look like what you want, but the feeling of having that accomplishment and those that energy to keep working at it is so good. So thank you
Yeah.
for Mhm.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. And it's those lessons are major, man. Those lessons are major. Kudos to you for continuing to evolve and continuing to revisit. I love it. Thank you. Anybody else before we wrap it up? Hmm? All right, good people. Listen, man. As
I'm sorry.
always, Miss K, what's happening?
I'm driving. I got to apply where I could unmute. You got me at the beginning where you were talking about baby walk and the quantum leap that happened there. And it was such an easy visual. And it's, thinking about it in that way, how babies just, they fall down and it's like not a big deal and they get up and then all of a sudden they're walking. And and I thought about when my daughter was learning to walk. My daughter learned to walk, by some people's standards and by my mom's standards, she was walking late. She's 14 months old. And my mom was like, you need to get your daughter checked. Is it her shoes? Whatever, whatever. And then, one day, I look back and she's just walking. And that's what I thought about when you were talking about that quantum leap. And so as you were talking about the limiting beliefs, because quite frankly, like the whole title, when I saw the title of today's session, like how limiting beliefs can change your life. I'm like, but it was interesting because as I was driving, as I'm still driving, I'm thinking about one specific limiting belief that I have that's related to my finances and my worthiness around that. But as you're talking about your win and gratitude, what I have noticed is that as I've been doing my gratitude journal all summer, and then at the end of the day, I'll either rate myself on how I did for the day or whatever learnings came. And what I have been noticing is that people have been coming in my face that have helped me to expand in ways that I would not have, I don't believe, if I had not been doing this practice this day. And so what it has caused is what I'm getting to is that as we put in place the practices that you're talking about, we generate this energy that attracts the people to us that helps us to accomplish our goal. And so as you were saying, well, okay, just set the goal, set the audacious goal. You don't have to know how it's going to come to pass. And I'm sort of seeing how that's happening in my life in that way. And so I appreciate these Mindset Mondays because it really gives us the opportunity to really reflect and see how these things are coming to pass. It's really, really cool. So thank you. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Ryan.
I still need that horn. Let's go. I love to hear the stories and you guys continue to tell them weekly of the implementation and seeing and experiencing the growth, right? Being the awareness, right? The reticular activation system now becoming aware of new things are important to us. So we need to be aware of different people, different experiences that'll help us take another step. Help us take another step. Give us some more information here. Teach us a lesson here. If we implement consistently, we change. So kudos to you. I appreciate you, Ms. K. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right, good people. Let today be another block in the foundation of the life that we're building, the life that you desire to have. Let today be another foundational block.